Hello guys, hope you're doing good. So in today's video, we're going to look at this titanium twig stove by Ganesha. I've been using this titanium twig stove for several months now. I took it out on several trips, camping, hiking. It's very lightweight and easy to carry and quite convenient. So when packed in its envelope, the stove measures 9.9 times 6.9 times 0.5 inches. So the stove is composed of two elements, an outer chamber and an inner chamber that fits inside. This unique design makes it ideal as a wood gasifier stove. So a top plate is added between the inner and the outer chamber to allow wood gasification. It's a very lightweight stove because of the titanium coming in at only 7.8 ounces. So one big benefit of the Ganesha wood stove is that it's designed for biofuels such as wood or twigs. You can just pick them up in the forest, and since it's quite an efficient stove, you really don't need that much wood. Well, there's many ways to use this stove. You can use the bottom up burn method or the top down burn method. But I find that the method that works best for me is to prepare some mid-size twigs or some sticks on the bottom of the stove, put some tinder and some small twigs on top, and light it from the bottom. This method is going to create an updraft that's quickly going to ignite the small twigs. Small twigs are quickly going to burn down and ignite the larger pieces of wood on the bottom. So the construction of this stove is quite unusual. It uses a stainless steel frame with some titanium foil on top, allowing it to have some rigidity but still maintain a very light weight. Well, the inner chamber of the stove can be used by itself as a regular twig stove, but the biggest benefit of the stove is to use the inner chamber and the outer chamber together to create a wood gasifier stove. So as the wood starts burning in the inner chamber, it's going to heat up the air between the inner and the outer chamber, creating airflow that's going to create the wood gasification effect and more efficiently burn the wood gases. This leads to a more efficient burn, a hotter stove, and much less smoke as well. So the double wall construction of this stove has another big benefit, is that the outer chamber acts as a windscreen protecting the inner chamber where the combustion occurs. So obviously this wood gasification stove is quite different from the other wood gas stoves I've used in the past. Since it's a folding stove and it's a square stove, most wood gasifier stoves on the market are dual chamber and cylindrical and are not folding, so that's a big difference. At the same time, this wood gasification stove also has a feed port in the front, which is quite unusual. It helps with the versatility, but it might be a detriment to the pyrolysis and wood gasification effect. Once assembled, the Ganesha wood stove is a pretty big stove with a height of 6.8 inches by 5.25 inches for both sides. One limitation of this design is that the pot stands of the stove are not adjustable. So this could be a problem if you're using a particularly small pot for cooking. In order to fit properly on the pot stand, you'll need a pot that's at least 4.25 inches in diameter. Whereas if you're using a particularly large pot, larger than 5.5 inches in diameter, you can rest it on the outer chamber of the stove. Although the Ganesha wood stove is very well constructed, I would be careful using a very heavy pot on top of it. If you're planning to use cast iron to cook with this stove, or you're using a very large pot, I would probably recommend using a different stove. But for most situations, for solo camping, 2 people or small groups, using medium-sized pots, the Ganesha stove is ideal. After prolonged use, I did observe some warping of the inner stove, whereas the outer stove didn't show any warping whatsoever, but it was very easy to fix since the sides are quite flexible. So if you go on the website of Ganesha Wood Stove Project, you'll see all the backstory of this very interesting stove. It was initially designed to try to help people in Nepal to cook by using less wood. So the Ganesha Wood Stove Project has been quite a success, with several thousand of these stoves donated to families to help to avoid deforestation. In my experience, the Ganesha stove is definitely a very efficient twig stove. Another nice feature of this stove is that the envelope used to carry it is made of fiberglass impregnated with silicone, making it very heat resistant, and you can use it as a ground sheet to support your stove. It will help to avoid burning or charring the ground under the stove. So in conclusion, what can we say about the Ganesha wood stove? I've been using it for several months now and took it out on multiple trips, and it performed extremely well. The more I've been using it, the more I've been appreciating its design and features. First, I thought that the construction was a bit flimsy, but it proved to be quite a robust stove, even though it's quite a lightweight. Despite its lightweight, it's still a very large stove, so you can put a lot of wood in it. You don't need to recharge it non-stop, and it has a big surface to allow cooking. So definitely a great stove to have. I recommend taking a look at it. If you're interested to pick one up for yourself, I added the link in the description section of the video. Thanks for watching.